Wow! 3 vlogs in 1 week. I think that's the most I've ever done so far. Looking back at some of my videos, they're all crap. It's to be expected. I don't talk about much, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, looking back, I think it's been like a year since I've been vlogging. Sorry, I used the correct terminology. Don't kill me, people. Vlogging with a V. And originally I was doing this to help me get more comfortable back in front of the camera for acting, and somehow ended up at art school. Not too sure how that works, but hey, you know, wherever it takes you, you know how it is. Anyway, I want to keep this short. I want to be like 5 or 6 minutes, so that means I shouldn't say things like that. Anyway, gosh, I don't know why I'm vlogging. Maybe because my roommate's out of the room, who knows. Anyway, also to see, hey, real color. I'm not actually red like I was last time. It might be because I don't have a red shirt on today. Again, I'm talking about nothing. Anyway, I actually had an interesting conversation with my roommate about technology and art. Some people are traditionalists, some people really, really do not want to have art and technology merging. The school obviously has acknowledged that technology is a part of making art, but there's still gonna be that tension going on between traditionalists and progressive. Well, I guess I'll use that term, progressive, in terms of art. Now, obviously, vlogging, could that be considered art? Just kind of curious, because I'm looking on YouTube and watching videos, and a lot of people use it for art. You know, I've seen a lot of people like film themselves drawing stuff, and you know, there's time lapse. They speed it up so you can see what they're doing, and there's been some interesting things. I use a lot of technology in my art, in that you know, graphic design, digital art is very popular, extremely popular, been growing last few years. What do you guys think? I'm just curious, because he's more of a traditional artist and very leery of new technology, and there is probably some point where he might want to incorporate technology, you know, using Photoshop or something to enhance his paintings or whatever. But what about you guys? What do you feel? What draws the line? Should technology and art be allowed to merge? Should digital artists be allowed to, is digital art considered art? There's a lot of debate on that as well. I believe it is. Honestly, I do. I mean, it takes a lot of time and effort to do digital art, just as much as time as it would to do a traditional piece like painting. So I do believe that they are. It's just as important, and it's a requirement to keep up on technology as an artist, because it's an ever-growing medium, and there is no boundaries when it comes to art, which is something that any artist who is attending this school is probably being like subjectified or brainwashed into thinking. But there are a lot of teachers that are still fighting about it, even because I'm part of the photography department. Big debate between digital and traditional, like, you know, actually developing your film, actually going into a dark room and manipulating the image that way. I talked to someone who's very leery of the technology. He's a photographer, and you know, he said, you know, at first I was extremely leery, because I liked enjoying that time in the dark room. But I realized once I started learning more and more about Photoshop that I was spending just as much time as I would in the dark room as I was fixing, color correcting my photos in Photoshop. So anyway, my question to you: do you believe that they are viable? Are they connected? Can they coexist happily? And I think they can. So there we go. Quick and to the point, and I'm just curious to see what anyone's reactions are. So, the end.